You're watching the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. February is here, and that brings important college basketball to Moody Coliseum in Abilene, Texas. What a great WAC matchup between two longtime rivals. It's Stephen F. Austin and Abilene Christian. As we take a look at the standings coming in, SFA 2 out at the top of undefeated Southern Utah. Abilene Christian there in the middle at 4-5 with potential to make up some ground as well. It lays it out as a big second meeting between these two here today. As we say welcome courtside, everybody, Zach Carlisle with Connor Mullins, Matthew De La Cruz coming up as well. I love this matchup. I love when these two teams get together. We've been doing this thing for years, SFA and ACU.
Senior day for Abilene Christian, going to be a fun matchup here in Moody Coliseum. That game on December 31st, we keep coming back to that one. ACU loses that game by 5, and Nacogdoches looking to get some revenge today against their rivals.
We'll see if the impact players make a statement today. Ayanna Johnson, she's been around forever for SFA, and Addison Martin has really been really good in year one for ACU.
Ayanna Johnson, the player of the year in the WAC for SFA, been fantastic this season. 13 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game, 50% from the floor. Addison Martin, that redshirt freshman, had a redshirt year last year, been really strong for the Wildcats this season in the post. 11 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, an assist, 53% from the floor. She's been lights out for the Wildcats.
All right, let's talk about this matchup and the crazy week that's been. Send it over to the third member of our team, Matthew De La Cruz.
Thanks, Zach. If there's one thing that Texans dislike most, it's icy weather. With temperatures taking a deep dive into the single digits this week, collegiate teams across the state have been forced to reschedule their games. Abilene Christian has rescheduled their game with Utah Valley to Monday, February 6th, and SFA was forced to reschedule a pair of their matchups this past week to this week. University of Rio Grande Valley will take on SFA on Thursday, February 9th, and SFA versus Tarleton on Monday, February 6th. Zach, back to you.
Matthew, thank you very much. Yeah, crazy week. And we got to Saturday, so away we go with SFA at ACU from Abilene, Texas, and the Lady Jacks will control the opening tap, and it is out of bounds. And a turnover to get things started. As we take a look at this, we're going to take a look at the starting lineups here with Abilene Christian and Stephen F. Austin. The Wildcats. Abilene Christian will control it for the first time after the early turnover for the Lady Jacks. Here is Aspen Thornton on the move, and she's got it for two. As you peek at the starters, McClimate Call, Jordan Harrison, outstanding freshman for the Lady Jacks. Scott and then Johnson are impact player for ACU. Young team, Thornton, Earl, back from injury, Langstaff and Martin, and Miller, the fifth-year veteran for Abilene Christian. Lady Jacks second touch, the early turnover. They go backdoor, McClimate Call for the answer to tie it up.
It's a good backdoor find by the Lady Jacks to tie this score up at 2 to start this game out. Wildcats looking to get out to a hot start here.
Both teams off of losses. In fact, ACU dropped both on the road last week to New Mexico State and Grand Canyon, and SFA off of a home loss to California Baptist. Travel inside on Martin, and ACU gives it away.
SFA leads this series in Abilene 6-1. ACU got to get out to a strong start if they want to keep this game close. 2-2 start, good start for the Wildcats. Defensive possession now.
Down to the ground when Brittingham, and then she's able to get it to Scott somehow. Just kind of kept the footing. I'm not sure exactly how Avery Brittingham did that. She got it to Scott for the deuce. A pressure defense. It's one of the great ones. It's that zone that extends all the way down the floor. And ACU's got Malia Langstaff. Off she goes, lays it in. No, it's a charge. It's a charge. Wipe off the two. And the offensive foul on Langstaff.
Langstaff was 3 of 17 in that game in Nacogdoches on December 31st. Tough start for her.
As you mentioned, a rematch of a game that finished 83-78 SFA, a very good one in Nacogdoches on New Year's Eve. And another good coach, Mark Kellogg, one of the greats in all of mid-major college basketball, 8th year at SFA. Look at the record. It's incredible. Back-to-back NCAA tournaments. They're trying to go to 3 in a row this year if they can pull it off.
And they're 17-4 without their best player in Zion Nugent, who's out for the season prior to the year.
To do all that without her, pretty incredible 17-4 mark. Southland champs 2 years ago, WAC champs a year ago. Bella Earl with the game's first triple.
That's a good look from Earl to extend ACU's lead 5-4 now.
ACU's been mixing it up and playing a lot more zone lately. That's been working for them. So we could see 2-3 zone both ends of the floor today. Yeah, it's an and one. And it is Avery Brittingham for 2 and a chance at a 3-point play. The junior out of Fort Worth, Texas.
Brittingham, one of those starters for SFA, 54% on the floor this year.
Brittingham, 4 double-doubles this year, including the last time these two teams played. 17 points, 15 rebounds in that game. She has been unbelievable this season for the Lady Jacks.
Played 39 of those 40 minutes in Nacogdoches. Big-time performance.
That's a travel for the second time on Martin. ACU gives it away. Julie Goodenough looking on, the 11th year head coach of Abilene Christian, NCAA tournament appearance in 2019, and 2 wins away from 500 in her illustrious Hall of Fame career.
It's a fun battle between her and Coach Kellogg, 2 very storied head coaches around the WAC. Been at both programs for a long time. Had some very successful programs, and they've played each other a lot.
SFA's won the last 5 meetings in the series over the last 2.5 seasons. 14 on the shot clock. There's Martin. She's traveled twice. Tried to give that away, and it's offline. Boy, they've played her tough inside to start this game.
Martin, our impact player, 6 for 9 in that game. 18 points on December 31st.
Jordan Harrison has 5 in a row, the outstanding freshman for SFA.
She's been really good for the Lady Jacks this season, stepping into Nugent's role at the guard position.
Langstaff, that's no good. Rebound pulled down by McClimate Call. And a foul coming to the other end of the floor. Well, Jordan Harrison scored 5 straight, including that 3.
SFA on an 8-0 run in the last minute 17, and they extend it there. Jordan Harrison.
We haven't called a lot of Johnson, or really Martin at the other end, who we highlighted kind of that post presence. Oh, to try to high-low it, tap free. Martin got her hand on that.
And ACU had 28 points off of turnovers in that game on December 31st.
Aspen Thornton, they're going to need number 1 today, their outstanding sophomore point guard.
The nation's Division II leading scorer last year at Ouachita Baptist in Arkansas came to the Wildcats in the offseason.
Ayanna Johnson muscles in.
It's what she does best in that paint. Getting her spot down low in the post, being able to feed her down low and allow her to work.
You go into the year and you just look to see if there's still a Johnson sister at SFA. That's how that works. There's been 3 of them over the last half-decade plus. Ayanna Johnson in her 5th year. Foul at this end, I think it's on Johnson. We're coming up on the halfway point of this opening quarter. Three fouls on Abilene Christian, the first of the night for SFA, the 4th of the quarter on ACU. It's on Martin on the inbound pass.
That's smart by SFA, and they're shooting 6 for 6 to start this game. Perfect from the floor to start out.
They've had the same starting lineup all year, as consistent as it gets. One of the most efficient teams in America in terms of shooting percentage and taking high percentage looks. Corner 3, that's a good look. It's offline from a climate call.
Field goal defense for SFA. They're 64th in the country and 6th in field goal percentage on the offensive end.
Foul at this end takes us to a timeout. SFA early lead on the road here in Abilene. Time now for our keys to the game, brought to you by your Greater Texas Ford dealers.
For ACU, it's got to come out of halftime locked in. SFA won that third quarter 27-15 in that December 31st win, kind of sealing ACU's fate. It's been their Achilles heel all year. It's also senior day for ACU. Got to let Langstaff and Miller shine here. For SFA, got to feed their bigs in the paint and play some high-intensity perimeter defense. ACU is 21st in the nation in three-point field goals made this season.
Well, while that was on there, that's an offensive foul on Claire Graham, and all of a sudden ACU's got 5 fouls as a team in this opening quarter. That's a offensive, so it doesn't result in free throws, but it will be free throws the rest of the quarter for Stephen F. Austin, which is a big deal as they have this early 6-point lead. It just seems like that they've done a really good job executing on that defensive end, SFA, so far.
They absolutely have. It's a good start after that break, after missing that game that would have been on Thursday. Strong start, 14-8.
Inside Brittingham. Ball deflected out of bounds, and it'll stay with the Lady Jacks.
And SFA's doing it in the paint. 10-2 right now win for the Lady Jacks in the paint.
Now Angel Scott gets a look from the outside. Catch and shoot it, second three for the Lady Jacks.
It's a great look from Scott on the perimeter, knocked down.
Thornton turning, tough shot, tough angle. You know, Thornton scored 20 on New Year's Eve against SFA. Here's the kick out for the three.
It's really good ball movement from the Lady Jacks to find her on the perimeter. Scott knocks it down, finds her spot, sets her feet, gets that one to fall. 13-3 run.
Kirsten Harden checking in for SFA. Abilene Christian making a switch with Graham and Zoe Jackson, number 13, the backup point guard. Rachel Harjo out there, number 33 as well. Jackson on the rebound. She'll shoot two. Crashing the glass.
It's a really great offensive board by Jackson to get that second chance point opportunity and gets to the line here. Strong cut, gets to the basket, gets the board, and able to draw the foul and get to the line.
Langstaff returning to the game, number 4 for ECU. Harjo taking a seat, and the left-hander Zoe Jackson at the line for a couple. A sophomore, transfer from Butler. First-year Wildcat, a whole bunch of first-year Wildcats. A very young team as Mark Kellogg looks on to his Lady Jackson. Free throws there to make it a 17-10 game.
And for ACU, they really got to keep crashing those boards against these bigs of SFA. SFA has a plus 7.3 rebound margin, good enough for 30th in the country. That was a big opportunity by Jackson to get to the line.
Half court set. This team executes so well at this end. Brittingham, no good that time.
Another good board by the Wildcats to take it the other way.
Down 7 minutes into the first. Miller on the drive. Maddie Miller, her first points on senior day.
It's a very good look from Miller. Starts on the perimeter, able to drive it inside and get that one to lay in.
Fifth-year Wildcat playing in her 138th game, which is the most by any ACU player in any era in the history of the program. It's McClyman call. Had a hard time getting the three to go. Her second miss. Couple of great looks, though. Here's Miller on the attack again. No. Powerful board for Harden.
Trying to draw the foul there, unable to get the call.
Graham dives in and taps it free.
End-to-end stuff here.
Here's the Miller basket a couple of possessions ago for her first points of the game.
Miller just drives down low against Johnson and gets that one to go. Really strong look, drive inside against Brittingham.
Miller having her best year in her 5th year with ACU.
All WAC preseason pick before the season.
Nearly picked off there, out of bounds, and it is a turnover. Graham's been everywhere. The 23 for Abilene Christian on the defensive side. And now this backcourt pressure. How does ACU solve this today? That feels like a big key for them to stay around with this quality SFA bunch.
ACU's got to keep their legs fresh.
Oh, out of bounds it goes. ACU turns it back over. You think about this SFA program. They have one total loss in league play in the last 2 years. 2 this year. To be at 7-2, California Baptist played a heck of a game last week in Nacogdoches. Shot lights out at 13 threes and knocked off SFA. But that's how good this program has been. They have a grand total of 3 conference losses in the last 2.5 league seasons.
They do it year after year. One of the perennial powers in this WAC conference. One of the best in mid-major women's basketball as Scott takes a 3.
It's no good.
Yeah, just a credit to Coach Kellogg's program and what he's done at SFA.
2.5 minute scoring drought for SFA. They keep locking it down at this end. A takeaway for Kyla Deck, the freshman, number 12 into the game. Scott thought she would line one up. Instead gets Harden involved.
I'm really liking the ball movement from the Lady Jacks, going inside, outside, forcing ACU to work on the perimeter.
Destiny Lombard pulls up, no good. Under a minute left in the opening quarter.
And ACU really trying to get SFA in transition because they know that defensive pressure is coming.
Another miscommunication and the ball sails out of bounds. Abilene Christian turnover number 8 of this opening quarter.
Coach Goodenough doesn't look happy with that one.
SFA forces 20 per game on the defensive side. Already 8 in the opening quarter.
3 turnovers in the last couple minutes for ACU. Just some miscommunication on the offensive end. Just got to settle down into it. It's early in this game.
Lombard on the move. Aggressive finish for the junior out of Louisiana.
Another good offensive possession for the Lady Jacks.
Another near giveaway.
Thornton looks to slow it down.
Langstaff couldn't get it, but she'll shoot 2.
It was a strong cut to the basket. Looked like it was going to fall and get the N1, but a good move from the graduate.
It just feels like SFA makes everything hard on the offensive side. So much effort is just used going through a half-court set. That wears you out for 40 minutes of a game.
Absolutely. A lot of defensive pressure right now for the Jacks on ACU, forcing them to be uncomfortable when they do take shots.
Langstaff to the line, the first-year Wildcat. Started her career at Winthrop, played in 82 games in 3 years there. Last year was an All-MIAA Division II selection. In her time in Northeastern State in Oklahoma, comes to ACU for one final basketball season. A 1,000-point career scorer in her 3 schools. No shot clock, 1 shot for the Lady Jacks. 2 seconds, out of bounds, saved away, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. No field goals in the last 2.5 for ACU. SFA by 6 at the end of 1. WAC Hoops continues after these messages. Tuesdays on ESPN Plus, get in-depth coverage of all things Abilene Christian women's basketball. It's the Julie Goodenough Show, presented by ACU TV every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. Start of the second quarter, SFA in front of ACU 19-13. Zach Carlisle, Connor Mullins, Matthew De La Cruz. As we welcome you back to WAC Hoops on ESPN. interesting first quarter. It felt like a lot of turnovers there for Abilene Christian. SFA with the 6-point lead. What have you noticed so far?
Well, obviously, these are two very different games, but in that game on December 31st in Nacogdoches, it was a 19-16 lead for SFA at the end of one, and a 25-18 second quarter win for ACU. Points in the paint have been big for SFA, 12 of their 19 coming in the paint.
Forcing ACU into 8 turnovers as well. What do the Wildcats have to start the second? Oh, another turnover. It's a travel on Martin. That is her third travel of this game, as SFA leads by 6. All right, time to check in on the sideline with Matthew De La Cruz.
Basketball coaches love young talent, especially when that talent is a freshman who's leading the team in the scoring column and conference play. Addison Martin has stepped up big for her ACU Wildcats in her last matchup versus the SFA Lumberjacks, scoring 18 points and leading her team to a 83-77 loss. Zach, back to you.
Matthew, thank you. Yeah, Addison Martin was fantastic in that game, December 31st, a breakout redshirt freshman campaign. And they're going to need her with how good SFA is inside. Number 12 is going to decide a lot today for ACU.
It's a big post battle between both schools. SFA dominates in that post with Ayanna Johnson, Brittingham, and Kirsten Harden. 3 of their top 4 scorers come in the post, and Johnson, Brittingham, and Harden. Martin's got her work cut out for her in the post, and it's showing so far, looking to get back into that rhythm.
Kyla Deck at the line, the freshman out of Frisco. You're talking about young talent stepping up between Harrison and Deck, and even Zoe Nelson, the young sophomore number 1 who usually comes off the bench as well. There has been some young talent that has helped set up SFA, because this season you don't know where it could go when Zaya Nugent goes down for the year. Well, you look up and they're still 17-4.
It's that next man up mentality, right? You just got to rely on your veterans to kind of lead you to this point. Played really well so far in conference play.
Martin no good. Harjo fouled on the putback. ACU's 3rd offensive rebound. SFA does not have one yet today. Harjo to the line.
Martin driving again down low. Can't get that one to fall. Harjo on the offensive board, able to get to the line.
Rachel Harjo, the sophomore, a native of Oklahoma, played last year at Central Florida in Orlando. Didn't see a lot of minutes, decided to make the transfer, put her name in the portal, and Julie Goodenough found her, and she has been a major contributor off the bench for these Wildcats. 7 points a game, 3 rebounds a game, about 15 minutes off the bench for ACU. 3-point difference here in the second quarter. Step back, it's Morrison. She had 5 big ones in a row in the first. Now Deck. After their first offensive rebound, Deck no good on the putback. Out of bounds, it goes to ACU.
That was a good offensive possession set for SFA, though, able to get the offensive board, unable to get that layup to fall, but really good work on the offensive end to find that look.
And that was another youngster in Nelson to get that offensive rebound. Lombard and Harrison at the top of this zone for the Lady Jacks. 10 on the timer for Miller. Thornton thought she was going to do it. Deflected, saved, and I think the shot clock ran out. Or is there one to shoot it when the ball landed out of bounds? I don't know if there was any time left.
Miller just passes it out to Thornton on the perimeter.
See the shot clock, hard to tell here. As that got saved, the shot clock was going off. They're going to give ACU the ball. Wait a second here.
Maybe the ball went out of bounds on SFA. It'd be a restart possession.
Are they giving this a new possession? Wow. Okay, I mean, if that's major to give ACU a fresh 30 on that. Thought maybe the time ran out. Martin into the paint. ACU takes advantage to make it a 1-point game.
And that's what Martin needs to do. She needs to get her feet set in that post, be able to find the matchup she likes, and just lay that one in.
to the outside. Harrison looking for the answer.
Martin again getting that defensive board to get ACU in transition against the Lady Jacks.
ACU led when the game was 5-4. They have a chance to reclaim it here. And it's Thornton to do so, mid-range.
A great score for the Wildcats. She's got 7 now in this game. 3 for 4 from the floor. 6-0 run for the Wildcats.
3 minutes in, Johnson spinning, laying it in. Boy, a ring around to Rosie there to go off the glass.
Just catching the Wildcats off guard. Got to do what you got to do to get the bucket.
Thornton fouled by Harrison. Let's go to Johnson here in the paint.
Just working on Harjo down low. Just uses her pivot foot and gets that one to go.
Kept the foot down.
Kept the foot down. It's not a travel.
No, yeah, you can spin 360 if you need to, you know.
Just get the angle you like.
Works for Johnson. Fun to watch. 5th-year Lady Jack, 140th career game played today.
Yeah, she's played enough basketball to know how to do that one down low.
Thornton, good look again. It's no good. Look at Earl on the offensive glass. Harjo just pushed it. Now Thornton puts it back in. Timeout, Mark Kellogg and Stephen F. Austin. Abilene Christian fighting back down early with the lead in a second. Six minutes to go in the second quarter, and Abilene Christian has worked their way back into this and now leads it by 1 over Stephen F. Austin. He's longtime rivals, and Aspen Thornton's basket the reason ACU has the lead.
Yeah, she's got 9 points today, getting a lot of second chance points for ACU to lead this game. Strong board by Earl, pokes it again. Thornton gets the rebound and gets that one to fall to give ACU the lead. 6-0 lead for ACU in the second chance points right now. 10-3 start in this second quarter, kind of settling in now, getting that first lead of this game.
ACU had 8 turnovers in the first quarter, just 2 to start the second quarter. Seems like they're starting to maybe figure some things out on that offensive side of the floor.
Able to get that ball moving a little bit more, able to get the looks they like. Offensive rebounds have been key for ACU, 5-1, and winning the rebound margin total by 7, 12-5. It's been really good work on the glass, and that's what's winning in this game right now.
These two teams are playing in Moody Coliseum again. They haven't had this venue for this matchup in a long time. Played in the Teague Center for the last 2 years. Last time they played at Moody was in March of 2020. That pass is picked off. Here come the Wildcats here in this second frame. Harjo. If that would have gone down, it would have been just her 9th 3 of the year. Now a travel, and the ball will go right back to Abilene Christian.
Thornton doing it on both ends, able to get that steal. Kicks it out to Harjo on the perimeter. Scramble for the ball.
There's the travel.
ACU ball.
Harrison goes to get it, but then came back up just a bit and walked with it. Now Thornton on the attack. Aspen Thornton led ACU with 20 New Year's Eve in Nacogdoches. They may need her to be the leading scorer again, just with her dynamic ability to put points on the board.
And in that game, she did it from the line. She was 8 for 10 from the free throw line, 5 for 11 from the floor, just attacking the basket and able to draw those fouls.
2 fouls each side in the second quarter. SFA just 3 points to speak of here in this second quarter, and it forced an earlier timeout by Mark Kellogg. Ball loose, who's that off of? It'll stay at this end.
ACU's defense playing really well right now, just playing really good man defense. Forcing SFA to make errant passes.
SFA 48% from the floor for the year, 6th in the country, and 38% from the three-point line. One of the top marks in the country and the best in the WAC as well. That ball Got banged around a couple of times, now a foul, and I think Brittingham's going to the line for SFA.
Brittingham has 12 games with 7 or more rebounds, and she's got a pair so far today. It's a strong board there and gets to the line.
Avery Brittingham, a junior out of Fort Worth, blossoming this year for SFA. 67th career game played. I mean, yeah, her rebounding numbers are insane. 15 against ACU, 20 against Cal Baptist earlier in a year. I mean, she's just remarkable on the glass for the Lady Jacks. Puts SFA back in front by 1, halfway through the second.
Brittingham gets SFA that lead back at the line.
That's zone D. Here comes Jackson. The attack. Now Martin short. Got it back. Fresh 20. Graham open. Miller, no. Brittingham went and got it. Oh, a chance to run.
Run out.
Harrison and a foul. Who's it on? Is that? Oh, did they get Graham? Wow. I'm surprised by that one with her and Harrison going at it. I thought that might be a foul on Harrison.
That was smart by Brittingham to try to get the run out. It's going to be a foul on Graham. Might look to review this one. Coach good enough in the ref's ear right now.
I think they might have just signaled the wrong direction. But it's a foul on Graham. They have a bench warning issued to ACU. Watch here.
Again, not really sure what would be the foul on Graham. Just going for the ball.
So the foul is called on Graham, despite that looking like a foul on Harrison. Then Julie Goodenough did not like the call, and the entire ACU bench was chatting and coming at the officials, and that's where the bench warning came in. So it's SFA ball.
Yeah, assistant coach Weston Jamison also stood up. Brittingham gets that one to go.
Brittingham converts it. SFA in front by 3.
Brittingham doing a lot of work down low right now. 5 points so far, 3 boards, 3 assists.
Meanwhile, at this end, Abilene Christian 1 for their last 7 from the floor. Jackson wanting to change that, cannot. Brittingham with a rebound.
She's been everywhere for the Lady Jacks on these last few possessions.
Already her 4th board. Johnson, a fairly slow offensive start, 4 points. Now into the paint and 1. Jordan Harrison making the case for the best freshman this league has to offer.
She's gotten the WAC Player of the Week freshman honor 4 times this season, and we see why right here. Gets to the basket, able to get the and 1. Working on Claire Graham.
We've seen Harrison and Graham going at it a couple of times in this game, both of them freshmen. But Harrison, what an initiation into her time at SFA. Hey, by the way, your mentor and the person who eventually you'll take the kind of ropes from, Zion Nugent, she's out for the year. You're going to have to fill her shoes. She's done that wonderfully.
And what does she do? She just starts every single game. Gets 12 double-digit games, 1 in the first 7 and 11 in the last 14. Really getting hot as of late here.
So Harrison will get that torch passed eventually. It's becoming a pretty good statement this year. That's a travel before the basket. Addison Martin has now traveled 4 times and turned it over 5 times.
It's a tough start for our impact player, Addison Martin. Just unable to get her feet set. Use that pivot foot. 7-0 run now, SFA. ACU 1 for their last 8.
I firmly believe she's traveled each time, too. That doesn't seem like something that has not existed there. That she has taken too many steps to try to establish it underneath. Johnson nearly tried it, got it blocked. Well defensed at this end.
And I would also say it's a credit to SFA's defense in the post with Johnson and Brittingham really putting a lot of pressure on Martin to get the shots she wants.
It's a 7-0 SFA run. Under 3 until the break. Martin, now a foul. comes at this end. Hey, coming up, ESPN Halftime Report. It's Cohen Carpenter and Joseph Chapa in the studio. The first half stats presented by First Bank Texas. Highlights and analysis coming up as well. All coming up on the ESPN Halftime Report. Guys, we'll talk to you in just a little bit as they'll break down this first half that started 10-3 ACU. Now at dead even 10-10 second quarter.
It's been really strong by SFA to combat that 10-3 start for ACU in this quarter. ACU just looking to get comfortable again on that offensive end like they were at the start.
8 on the timer. Martin to work on the opposite side. 3 to shoot it. Miller's got to go. That might have been a little altered shot clock violation as that comes up short.
And Martin almost traveled again down low, but able to kick it out to Miller. Miller just unable to get that shot she wanted. Tries to get it from the three-point line. It's where she likes it, shooting 37% on the year from the line. Just not a good look there.
Hard to tell if Scott got her hand on that. It did come up relatively short on that three. Here is Angel Scott. Outstanding young sophomore out of Oklahoma into the paint. Harrison again. Spectacular first half.
Such a good slasher at the guard position. 10 points now, 4 for 6 from the floor.
Leads all scorers in the game. Under 2 until the intermission. Martin feels like an important shot, no good.
That was a good look for Martin and going to find.
9-0 run for SFA. Oh, pass taken away. Can Martin get ahead of everybody? She can. That ends a 4.5-minute scoring drought for ACU.
And I think that's big for Martin's confidence coming back into this game to get that steal, get the run out, and get the easy 2.
Just 4 points for Martin on 2 out of 7 from the floor. ACU hanging around, down 6. Johnson on the move. Johnson charge. Taken by Martin.
Offensive foul called on the Lady Jacks on number 20.
Yeah, Martin able to do it in different ways on the defensive end. Johnson working on her down low, takes the charge, uses her body to draw the foul and get ACU the ball back on the offensive end.
Martin not necessarily being set. I think they're calling that elbow extension on that one for Johnson. Exits the game. ACU tries to get it inside. Pass taken away. Brittingham, oh, that bounces off the feet of Harden. Back-to-back turnovers.
Miscommunication on the offensive end for SFA.
Inside pass picked off and a foul taken away by Deck. These turnovers are adding up. We've seen 25 turnovers here in this first half.
Yeah, and SFA had 23 in that game on December 31st. ACU had 15.
They turn it over 17 times a game to the Lady Jacks.
Yet they're still 17-4, able to find ways to win in other ways.
I think it helps when you force 20
yeah.
per game. Their defense is just so strong. Kyla Deck, the freshman out of Frisco at the line. Deck, first point of the game. Make it her second. She struggled to shoot it as of late, not from the foul line, but just from the floor. 0 for 5 from 3 in her last couple of games.
That scoring margin for SFA is something else to look out for. Plus 18 on the year, plus 8 so far.
Earl, big time 3, no good. Miller, offensive board. No, did she just hesitate too long on the putback? Thought she might have had a clean look to put it in. Brittingham will feed it. No, it's a charge first. These turnovers continue to add up.
And again, it's Martin sacrificing her body down low to force the charge. Jackson almost got the steal there. Brittingham doesn't get her feet set. It's going to be a charge.
20 seconds, no shot clock, and an 8-point lead for SFA. Abilene Christian can hold for the final shot of the half. Inside pass deflected and a foul.
ACU really using their sets right now to find their bigs down low, and SFA is picking up on that read on the defensive end and able to force those turnovers right now. It's 5 turnovers in the last 6 minutes for ACU.
Nelson goes to the line for SFA, and she is deep. Sophomore from Pflugerville, Texas. Rebound to Harjo, still an 8-point difference, 3 seconds. Jackson will get it off, it's no good. And that'll take us into the locker room. Abilene Christian is 1-6 when they trail at the break. They do here, SFA by 8, 33-25. It's time for the ESPN Halftime Report. Cohen and Joseph in the studio. Fellas, it's all yours.
Back-and-forth game, ACU down by as least as 1. Now with these fouls and SFA going to the charity stripe, SFA is out here on top. What did you see in the first half?
It was a close game, and there were turnovers throughout, but I think what really killed ACU, especially there to end the half, is they stopped making field goals. They went on a 1-for-11 drought. They're putting up more shots. They're making 20% less of them, and that's not going to work.
Well, I can't wait to hear more of your analysis after this break. Halftime stats, highlights, analysis, and more after the break. We'll see you here in the ACU TV studio. On ACU Senior Day, SFA, the classic rival team, comes into town here in Moody Coliseum, and so far is spoiling Abilene Christian Senior Day, leading 33-25 here against the Wildcats. And welcome inside the ACU TV or studio on the campus of Abilene Christian University. I'm Joseph Chapa. That's my guy right here, Cohen Carpenter. We're going to be breaking down the first half, so Cohen, we'll start with the efficiencies for ACU. You start 2 for 3 from three-point land. They are a perimeter-oriented team. You go 0 for 7. SFA, meanwhile, is shooting the ball really well from all 3 levels of the floor. What do you want to say about that?
It's just been a breakdown, the story of the first quarter, the story of the second quarter. First quarter, it was obviously more of a shootout. Both teams were going at it. They're still putting up the same number volume-wise of shots. SFA, as the second quarter rolled around, they're just making more of them, especially from three-point man. You miss them. In the second quarter, they are 0 for 7, the Wildcats are, from downtown.
And ACU sure does have a lot of time to come back. Speaking of time now for the first half stats, brought to you by First Bank Texas, building strong homes, businesses, and friendships since 1880. We talked about the efficiencies overall, rebounding-wise, also not on there, the assist column. Cohen, what are you seeing that SFA is doing that ACU really isn't when it comes to the stat sheet?
It's actually what I'm not seeing in that stat sheet. I think turnovers are playing a very big role in this game, especially SFA in that second quarter. They were picking it up, getting a lot of points off those turnovers. But something that's keeping ACU in this game, second chance points. They're doing a good job with the offensive rebounds. They're leading in that category when you look at the total game stats.
Finally for ACU, sophomore guard, Aspen Thornton. What a year she has been having. I mean, newcomer of the year for ACU, right? She is leading the team right now in points and really just all across the stat sheet. What do you, if you're Aspen Thornton and you're saying, okay, SFA, second in the WAC, we're still underdogs, but we are still in this thing. What do you say to your team and say, hey, we are down by a lot, but we're going to come back and win this thing?
Yeah, and that's what's so unique about having a team like this Wildcat squad where it's very young. Yeah. You've got Maddie Miller, but then you've got a bunch of sophomore transfers and freshmen. But I think if you're a girl like Aspen or like Maddie Miller, you're one of the leaders on that team. You've got to rally around, and this is a team that has won before, especially in big WAC matchups like this. SFA is beatable, and they can beat them here on senior night.
This sure isn't their first rodeo. Thank you, Cohen. Thank you all for tuning in to this ESPN Halftime Report. We'll be back after this break with the second half.
Halftime, SFA in front by 8. The second half is coming up in just a little bit. A good matchup here in Abilene, Texas. As we say, welcome courtside, everybody. Zach Carlisle with Connor Mullins. Really good first half. I mean, this thing, ACU got off to a good start in the second quarter to come back and take the lead. Now SFA pulls back in front. Really, really fun first half.
Yeah, ACU for that third quarter, that is key. So far this season, they just have not played very well in the third quarter. New Mexico State beat them 17-10 in the third, and GCU last week beat them 21-9 in the third. A big third quarter coming up for the Wildcats.
It really, really is. SFA with this 8-point lead. We'll talk about Maddie Miller here because she has just been at ACU for a long time, fifth-year senior, the only 5-year player under Julie Goodenough at Abilene Christian, and so they are really, really excited, and they're going to honor her and Malia Langstaff, their seniors, after the game here this afternoon.
Yeah, Miller 10th in the WAC in points per game, 14th in assists per game, 3rd in three-point field goals, and 3rd in three-point field goals made. Just a storied player for the Wildcats. Been here for a very long time, deservedly so. Needs a big performance today.
SFA to work to start the third period. Harrison, no good. A spectacular first half from Jordan Harrison. And now a foul on the putback attempt as Ayana Johnson went to work inside. We got a foul and free throws coming up. It hasn't been as much Johnson, but boy has Harrison been a big part of this first half here for SFA.
She's been that facilitator to get the bigs working down low, able to be that slasher for the Lady Jacks. As Johnson hits her first one. 20 points in the paint in that first half for SFA to ACU's 10. That's been the key. A lot of turnovers, a lot of back and forth. SFA just able to pull it away at the end of that first half.
A 10-point lead now for these Lady Jacks. 52% shooting in the first half. Now 75% at the line. Hasn't been a lot of three-point shooting. Boy, they have been so good when it matters most inside. Miller, catch and shoot three. Abilene Christian needed that in the worst way.
And that's her game. That's her spot, is that three-point line. She lives and dies by it. Able to get that one to fall. A good start to the half.
Miller 38% for the year at the three-point line. Foul at this end. Earl working on Brittingham. Foul is on Bella Earl of ACU.
Miller has 172 career three-pointers. Been really good from the perimeter.
SFA's really executed well outside of the turnover issue at times with in the half-court set. They execute at such a high level. McClimate call no good.
That's a good board by Jackson. Transition now for ACU.
Miller wants another. Deep that time. The rebound to Harrison. Such a confident freshman. Here is Angel Scott deep. In transition. Haven't seen a lot of running opportunities for each side tonight.
Yeah, we haven't, Zach. ACU looking to get inside, maybe a little bit more with Martin.
Martin's going to shoot two. How important is she to the success of ACU in this second half?
It's huge. She had those travels in the first half that kind of cost her a little bit. It's important to get her settled in here in the second half. Let her get her spot down low, get that matchup she likes, and kind of work around those post bigs of SFA and get to the line.
Martin only stands at 6 foot. You got Johnson at 6'3", Harden at 6'3". Brittingham plays more of the 4 at 6 foot, but you got Nelson at 6'1" off the bench. Short is Martin, a 69% free throw shooter for the year. Yeah, it's such a great point you made on camera to start this second half here was how important the third quarter is, because it's been an issue for these Wildcats, not just against SFA New Year's Eve
all season,
but most of the year. They're only about right at even for the point margin in the third quarter this season.
Yeah, 338 to 327 against their opponents in the third quarter. It's not what you like to see for head coach Goodenough.
And SFA, meanwhile, something
to
like
pounce on
plus 100 in the third quarter this year.
421 to 307. They've been dominant in that third quarter, and their 3-2 start in this third quarter. ACU lead.
Earl trying to go baseline. 15 on the timer. Langstaff, dribble drive.
We didn't see a lot of her in that first half. Only played in 12 minutes. Has 3 points. That's a good cut to the basket for the graduate.
One of her strengths for sure, the ability to put the ball on the bounce. So can Brittingham for SFA, and she'll power one up. No. Second opportunity, free throws. Avery Brittingham is a beast.
Just a really good rebounder, strong on the glass, able to get those second chance points, get to the line. We saw that on December 31st, like we mentioned earlier, with those 15 boards, doing so again tonight. 7 boards, 7 points, 3 for 3 from the line.
She's so strong in the interior. To junior out of Fort Worth. 7 points, 7 rebounds, make it 8.7 rebounds now for number 11 in purple. Julie Goodenough looks on.
The last time she had a double-double was against ACU. She's had 4 in her career.
Something like 17 points and 15 rebounds New Year's Eve. Incredible.
Looking for another one again today.
Can ACU execute against the 2-3 zone? Langstaff, corner 3, 5 in a row for Langstaff.
She really likes to shoot from the perimeter. That's a strength of her game as well, inside and outside.
Back and forth we go. Brittingham will kick it. And answer, Angel Scott. No, Harden, put back. Powerful put back. Mark Kellogg wanted the foul for an and one. Didn't get it. Kirsten Harden for 2.
Yeah, it's Harden's first season at SFA, played at Northern Colorado last year, had 280 rebounds in 3 seasons there. She's a really strong interior player.
Averaging 6 rebounds a game this year. Martin back to work on Harden.
And that's the way to do it for Martin. Get her out, get your feet set, transition and cut to the basket, make her move her feet.
Brittingham again. Boy, this has become a post-dominant game.
Points in the paint have been huge for both sides. 22-14 lead in the paint for SFA.
Here comes Jackson on the attack. No. And look at Brittingham, rebound number 9. Harrison gets the roll. Lead back to 7.
Every team just driving to the paint right now, trying to get those layups, those looks they like down low for good enough. Looking to work it on the perimeter and look for the inside if you can.
There is Martin. She's fouled by Harden.
That's a good pass from the perimeter by Langstaff down low to Martin. Able to draw that foul.
It's not only the interior passing to the post. We've seen guards dribble penetrate to get inside as well. This just feels like everything is get into the paint this afternoon.
Absolutely. And Langstaff's been a big part of that.
Now Graham traveled with it in the corner.
And that's been a weakness for ACU today, not just Graham, but Martin and others as well, traveling.
Turnover number 16 for the Wildcats.
There were 28 turnovers in that first half between the two teams.
Brittingham fouled before she lost it. Foul on Miller for ACU. Her first of the game.
That's her first of the game. Team foul number 4.
So we got 4 for Abilene Christian in this third quarter and 2 for SFA as far as team fouls go. So bonus the rest of the time now for the Lady Jacks.
SFA just looking to continue what they're doing, get into the paint and get the easy 2. Use your bigs to your advantage.
At this halfway point of the third, Harrison.
A little bit of a different offensive set from SFA.
Every time number 10 gets it in her hands, something exciting is going to happen, you figure. Scott off that extra pass, tapped away and a foul.
SFA just 2 for 11 from the 3-point line.
7-point lead, however, for the Lady Jacks doing their work inside on the road in Abilene, Texas.
That's her fourth of the game. Team foul number 5.
Stephen F. Austin with a 7-point lead on Abilene Christian midway through the third quarter. Well, we talked about it. It is senior day for the Wildcats, and in particular, one great veteran in Maddie Miller. For more on that, here's Matthew.
ACU is recognizing 2 seniors on senior day today. Malia Langstaff, the 5th-year transfer, and Maddie Miller, the 5th-year grad student. In her final season, Miller has scored 250 points to put her over 1,000 on her career. Miller also holds the record for most games played at ACU on the Division I era. Expect ACU and Coach Julie Goodenough to continue to involve her as this game goes down the stretch. Guys, back to you.
Matthew, thank you. Yeah, and Miller today, 5 points, just 2 for 6 shooting. It hasn't necessarily been an outside shooting type of day that may lead Miller to get a bunch of open looks. We've seen an committed, both teams, how committed they are to getting the ball inside.
Absolutely. It's not been a lot of perimeter action so far today. ACU 4 for 13 from the three-point line. As I mentioned right before the break, SFA 2 for 11 from the three-point line. It's a lot of working it inside, moving the ball on the perimeter, finding your bigs inside, and letting them work down low. 26 of 14 winning the paint now for SFA, and that's what's really winning this game right now for the Lady Jacks. Whether it's Harrison winning your guards or Brittingham, they're winning that paint battle.
A 7-point lead for SFA, 47% shooting. ACU, their percentage has dropped all the way down to 39% for the game. And we've seen a combined 6 of 24 from the three-point line. And now Kirsten Harden is at the line for SFA after the foul prior to the break.
Yeah, ACU was 0 for 7 from the three-point line in that second quarter.
You mentioned too, Connor, before we came back on the air during the break, how important free throws may be. These two teams, when they play each other, they seem to get to the line quite a bit. That's SFA's 16th attempt today. ACU's been to the line 8 times this afternoon.
Yeah, they took 46 free throws between the two schools in that matchup on December 31st. It's really intense battles down low.
Calling a blocking foul at this end.
These are definitely rivals, 2 schools playing like they are rivals. A lot of intensity, a lot of paint presence. Not afraid to take charges.
10 on the timer now. Thornton has it. 9 points for Aspen Thornton today. Trying to add to that, well short. Not much on that possession for Abilene Christian.
Yeah, not the best look for Thornton there on the offensive end. She's been hot so far today. 9 points, 4 for 7. Just unable to get that one to go.
To the paint, no putback. Yes, Harden. They weren't getting much for offensive rebounds early on in the game. It took them late into the first quarter to get their first one, but they have done an excellent job on the glass ever since.
Yeah, they lead now in second chance points 9-6 after starting out 0 for 6 with ACU leading. As Miller gets that one back off the tip, working down low. It's a good defensive possession by the Lady Jacks to force the steal.
How good is this zone D? It's a pressure system too. Everything, every pass is challenging. Entry, high-low, executed perfectly with Harden to force an Abilene Christian timeout. Largest lead of the game for Stephen F. Austin. Kirsten Harden for 2. The lead is a dozen. Baker's dozen. The 2023 Hercules Tires WAC Basketball Tournament takes place March 6th through the 11th at the Michelob Ultra Arena and the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. For more information on the road to WAC Vegas, visit WACsports.com. Wrapping up week 6 of the conference schedule. Week 7 begins Monday for a few teams, including both of these teams. SFA will go to Tarleton Monday, and then ACU will host Utah Valley Monday. The makeup dates from the bad weather this week in Texas, and so this becomes a massive week for both of these teams. 4 games in a span of 8 days.
It's huge for both programs. The ice didn't help anyone, as we mentioned in Matthew's sideline report at the start of this game. It's a big homestand for ACU in these next few days, and a lot to be decided in these next few games for the standings and for the seedings. It is so important to get as high as you can right before March so you can get those buys in the tournament.
We'll talk about standings and seeding here coming up throughout the rest of this game, as well as Malia Langstaff. Her 3 is no good, and it was out of bounds, and off it goes to Stephen F. Austin, who has blossomed on a 10-0 run right now and a current 13-point lead, their largest of the game.
And they're able to get to the basket and drawing fouls. They're 12 for 16 from the free throw line compared to ACU's 5 for 8 shooting. Just forcing a lot of pressure on the defensive end of ACU.
This ball's loose, and it is end up being taken away by Langstaff. A good defense at this end for Abilene Christian, but they have been held without a point for 3.5 minutes. Langstaff on the attack changes that, a much-needed basket.
That's a huge basket from Langstaff, who now has 10 points on senior day. That's a good cut to the basket to cut into this Lady Jacks lead.
Off a screen, now McClymond call. Just 2 points in the game on 1 for 5 shooting. Ten to shoot it.
Good defense by ACU.
Here comes Harrison, she was out of bounds.
Out of bounds on the Lady Jacks. It'll be
That's a good defensive possession by ACU. Not getting feisty with it, just keeping your hands up, keeping your hands out of it. No reach or anything like that. Just letting SFA try to find the open man, and they're able to get it back on the offensive end.
Under 2 to go in the third.
One of the better defensive possessions we've seen from ACU.
Langstaff again.
Another great move, just quick step, quick cut to the basket. 12 points for her tonight.
Langstaff has a dozen to lead ACU. A very efficient 5 for 7 from the floor. Extra pass, McClymond call. Gonna get one of these to fall at some point. You would figure it's a deep air ball. Here comes ACU.
A couple of really strong defensive possessions now. ACU in transition. Thornton.
Can they do it? Graham, no, not close. Loose ball, chance to run. Destiny Lombard, got it.
Destiny.
There's a lot happening in the post on the ACU end. Taken advantage of by SFA on the other end.
A half a minute in the quarter. Stephen F. Austin by 11. Oh, Miller way out there, no good. Harden with the rebound. No shot clock. Oh, jump ball, and the arrow will go back to Abilene Christian so they can hope for the final shot of the third.
Take a look at the replay here. Miller from way downtown almost got that one to go. Langstaff just sticking with it, able to get the jump ball.
And also reiterate for
Are they going to call that a jump ball, or is that going to be?
I thought jump ball,
Okay.
and the arrow goes to Abilene Christian.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what it is. They will switch the arrow after the inbound. So 15 seconds. Potentially one shot to end the third. Langstaff denied.
Great
It
defense.
is Brittingham. 5 seconds, plenty of time. Harrison. Here goes 10. 2 to shoot it. Harrison won at the buzzer. Jordan Harrison. And the lead is 13 again. Stephen F. Austin on the road. And WAC Hoops on ESPN continues after these messages.
ACU with the lead, 52-39 at the start of this fourth quarter. For more on SFA's freshman guard Jordan Harrison, I throw it to the third member of our team, Matthew De La Cruz.
senior class
Thanks, Zach. Well, we talked about freshman leadership earlier, and ACU is not the only team with a breakout freshman star. For SFA, that freshman star is none other than true freshman Jordan Harrison. Harrison has scored 12.3 points per game on the season on 45% shooting this season, and with 12 points so far in this game and 15 points last week, expect coaching staff and Mark Kellogg for SFA to continue to use her. Guys, back to you.
Well done, Matthew. Yeah, Jordan Harrison, I mean, she's just spectacular. Beats the buzzer at the end of the third there as well. They want the ball in number 10's hands. Torch being passed from Zaya Nugent to Jordan Harrison. She's the next SFA superstar in a laundry list of names that you can go back in their history. Lombard here for three. And what Harrison hasn't had to do is do it from the three-point line. She's not really shooting it from the outside very well lately, but still with 14 to lead the Lady Jacks a game high, in fact, in that regard, and just spectacular to watch number 10 operate.
Her season high is 20 in that game against Texas A&M Texarkana on December 4th. As I mentioned earlier, 12 double-digit games, make it 13 now. 2 for last 15 three-pointer attempts, spanning of 4 games. It's been spectacular for the Lady Jacks. Coach Kellogg ought to be happy with what he's seeing out of his freshmen and for the future of her career at SFA as well. It's going to be fun to watch her grow as a player in this conference over the next few years.
I think they were just figuring out that it needs to stay at 9 on the shot clock, I believe. And that's exactly what it will be. As the possession continues, Harrison and Trigger, wide open Lombard. Another look at a three, missing both on a possession to start the fourth quarter.
Lombard, a 41% three-point shooter, unable to get that one to go. A good look, though, off the inbound. It'll be ACU ball.
13-point deficit for Abilene Christian. They've had to come back from these lately, as that three, or that rather the miss from Thornton Earl fouled on the putback. Bella Earl hit the first three for Abilene Christian in the opening quarter. Has yet to score since, but heads to the line here.
Yeah, it's a strong board by Earl. Gets to the line. That's what ACU's got to do if they want to come back in this fourth quarter.
Earl leads Abilene Christian with 5 rebounds today.
A really strong rebounder. A WAC freshman of the week twice last season. A WAC preseason pick prior to this year out of Denton-Guyer High School. 7 points per game this year, 38% from the floor, 30% from three, and 61% from the free throw line. Been a fun player to watch here in Abilene.
They were really, the key for her, from a coaching staff telling us, is just making sure she takes the next step as she grows year to year. Outstanding freshman, now into the starting role as a sophomore. Missed a couple of games due to injury in the middle of the season, middle of January. Back in that starting role for Abilene Christian. Here comes Lombard again.
She's still young, still growing like a lot of this ACU team, who has no juniors or seniors, but they have 2 graduates.
2 and Deck, late shot clock, able to get it, Kyla Deck, the freshman.
And Kyla Deck had a big game against ACU on December 31st with 18, 6 for 9 from the floor so far today. Yep. She's got 3.
Travel at this end on ACU, and Wildcats turn it over for the 18th time. There's been a ton. We have seen 35 turnovers.
It's been a lot. Both teams struggling with that.
What a fine Deck. Able to convert it. Harrison found her wide open. Timeout, Julie, good enough, and Abilene Christian. SFA pulling away, up 17 on the road. What a pass. 8 minutes to go as SFA starting to pull away, up 17 here at Abilene Christian. They have been so good on this defensive end, holding ACU to 14 second half points.
And I've been really impressed with the bench points for SFA, getting production out of Harden and Deck, 8 and 7 each.
It's a foul, not a block. Brittingham tried to get all ball. Instead, it's a foul, and free throws are coming. Let's take a look.
Take a look at the replay here. Miller high-low to Langstaff. Working on Brittingham, cuts to the basket, as she's done earlier in this game, draws the foul and gets to the line.
Yeah, it looked like there might have been a little bit of the hand instead of just the ball. Langstaff at the line.
57% from the line this year.
The lowest free throw percentage amongst the starters for Abilene Christian. Hits 1 out of 2. 8 minutes down by 16. Tough uphill battle here for these Wildcats in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, those bench points really securing this lead now for SFA. So we see Harden there.
Foul by Miller. SFA will continue to get to the foul line here too.
Yeah, ACU's got a lot of production out of their starters, not as much out of their reserves in this game. SFA being able to get production across their whole rotation. Harden being one of them. 2 for 2 from the line today.
No good that time. The redshirt junior out of Lufkin, Texas. You mentioned her being a transfer from Northern Colorado to first-year Lady Jack. Played a season-high 30 minutes last Saturday in that loss to California Baptist. She's really come on strong off the bench for the Lady Jacks. Just more depth and value in the paint.
You mentioned that California Baptist game. SFA really came out today with a vengeance, looking for a conference win again to kind of combat that loss last weekend.
Thornton, no good. She has no points in the second half.
After having 9 in the first half.
And 20 the last time these two teams played. 10 on the timer. Langstaff backs down. Converts it with a left hand.
She's had a really strong second half. Got 15 now. Leading scorer for the Wildcats.
Oh, on a drive off the foot of Harrison. Back to the Langstaff basket, Connor.
You look at it. Langstaff just had a good game today, 15 points. Career 1,131 points across all 3 schools. A big leader inside for the Wildcats and a valuable contributor in her final year.
That baseline no good for Deck, or rather for ACU. Deck defending, SFA's got it. Up by 15 on the road, trying to rebound after that close home defeat to California Baptist. Here comes Miller off the takeaway. Miller, ooh, it's going to be bumped, and she will shoot free throws at this end. We just haven't seen the run game. Really, there's been maybe a couple of picked spots where you could try to get up and down the floor. Not much transition today.
And that's really how ACU stuck into that game. In Nacogdoches on December 31st, they had those 28 points off of turnovers, played a lot of transition in that game, and they were able to get shots to fall. We just haven't seen a lot of that today.
Miller to the line. 5 points, 3 boards. Today for the 5th-year senior. Good at the line for a pair, back to 13. Not out of it yet, but they're going to have to keep defending at this end against SFA.
SFA shooting 50% from the floor. Good board by Harden.
Another chance. Just keeps grinding on the interior. That's the 12th offensive rebound for Stephen F. Austin. And make it 13 second chance points.
Just playing some bully ball down low, using her bigs to your advantage.
Thornton continuing to struggle in the second half. Not a lot of looks for number 1. And she will draw the foul on Harden. Speaking of Harden, you call it bully ball over there at the other end.
So we see Harden just getting those second chance points, getting on the offensive glass, gets the rebound, gets it a second time, gets a second chance point to go.
At the line for 2.
So Thornton to the stripe, and we mentioned it, no points in the second half for number 1.
But that's what separates you as a mid-major, right? Is getting those posts inside and using your size to your advantage. You see that on the men's side of WAC basketball as well. Every school that has bigs that play well, they do well down the stretch, and SFA is one of those schools on the women's side.
Thornton first points of the second half. Sophomore out of Hot Springs, Arkansas. We talked about it briefly earlier. Led the country in scoring at the D2 level, over 600 points at Ouachita Baptist a year ago. And now in her first year, up a level at Abilene Christian. 13-point game. SFA trying to close it out on the road to start their road trip.
And this is still a pretty young ACU team, 3 of their starters being sophomores.
Harrison, yes! Speaking of youngsters, the freshman has 17.
It's been phenomenal today. Really, as we keep mentioning, stepping into that role of Zaya Nugent's absence, been critical to the SFA success this season.
Thornton almost gave it up.
And I don't know if you could have really expected that out of her this season in Harrison.
That baseline.
Really come out of.
5 for Graham, blocking foul on Harrison. And free throws will be coming for the Wildcats. It's bonus for the final 4.5 of the game.
Jordan Harrison. That's her
No field goals for the Wildcats in the last 2.5 minutes.
I'll put the Wildcats in the bonus for the remainder of the game.
Take a look at the replay. Out to Graham. Draws the foul. Harrison looking to get the charge, unable to get it. Graham goes to the line. But Harrison really lighting up a storm in the WAC this year as a freshman.
Abilene Christian's lowest point total, 61 in a WAC game this year, only 46 so far. What's coming up? A lot of home games. Monday, makeup for ACU, 2 o'clock, Utah Valley. Thursday, California Baptist. What a team they are. Coming to town on the 9th before the visit to UTRGV and a home game with Tarleton. Busy, important scheduling coming up for the Wildcats. Graham at the line, no. 1 out of 2, and you just can't miss free throws against this team, especially in the fourth quarter.
Definitely can. ACU 11 for 18 now from the charity stripe. Looking at that schedule, it's a big week for the Wildcats. Heading into this last month into WAC Vegas.
Loose ball, still loose. Out of bounds, it'll stay with SFA with 8 on the timer. The 4:15 mark.
SFA has played really well today. You got to credit Coach Kellogg keeping his players fresh during this ice week in Texas and coming out really strong today in Abilene. Not an easy place to play, Moody Coliseum. They're playing really well today, and they've shown why they deserve to be number 1 in that resume seeding in the WAC.
Trying to win their 6th in a row, travel on deck. Trying to win their 6th straight against Abilene Christian. Have not lost to the Wildcats since March of 2020. Here's the travel on deck.
Yeah, Deck just driving against Thornton. Takes one step too many. ACU ball. No field goals in the last 3 minutes now for ACU.
Langstaff will turn and will convert it.
She's been a bright spot for Coach Goodenough as of late in this game. 17 now.
It's interesting, SFA they're not blowing out Abilene Christian, but they've been in control for most of this game. Angel Scott, no, on the 3.
They're definitely setting the tone on the offensive and defensive end especially. Not letting ACU take shots on the perimeter.
Brittingham is fouled. before the shot attempt. How about the game for Brittingham? 10 points, 11 rebounds, another double-double to her total.
Another great game for her. She had 17 and 15 against ACU on December 31st. Another great performance today. 4 assists in addition to that. Had some really nice looks. Just a really strong rebounder.
Inbound, Kyla Deck, no good. And then this three-point shooting, 3 for 17 for SFA, 4 for 18 for Abilene Christian.
And yet the three-point line does not matter in this game. SFA still got that 13-point lead, working it down low, being able to establish their presence in the paint.
Addison Martin turning, scoring. Back to 11.
ACU not out of this one just yet. Still got a couple minutes to go. But they got to get some defensive stops.
Ball poked free. There is a defensive stop. Earl will try to get it. Nothing. This ball is free. It's a tie-up, and the arrow will stay with Abilene Christian. Running against the clock, however, with 2:30 to go.
It's a good run out by Earl, just not a good layup, but strong take by Graham to get the jump ball and get the possession arrow going ACU's way. A foul on Jordan Harrison, I believe.
Harrison's got 4. So does Ayanna Johnson for SFA. Both out there right now with 2.5. Thornton hesitates. No good. Harjo with the rebound.
It's a big board offensively by Harjo.
Martin too wide, out of bounds, and a turnover.
It was a good idea by Earl to give her big that position. Down low, you saw her working. Just unable to get there, outstretched hands. It's unfortunate for Martin. 8 points and 6 boards for Martin today. That was a big stop by SFA.
Johnson underneath, high-low again. These bigs execute at an incredible level. It's fun to watch.
They've done that all day. We mentioned it before. They dominate in the post, and it shows in the stats. 3 of the top 4 scorers for SFA are Ayanna Johnson, Brittingham, and Kirsten Harden.
So 10 points, 11 rebounds for Brittingham. 5 assists as well. Just spectacular. Graham, the three-point shot is not going down today for either side.
And Coach Goodenough loves the three-point line.
What are we something like? We're something like today, a combined 7 of 37 from 3.
Not the best three-point shooting.
Yeah, not so much. 10 to shoot it. Harrison, Johnson was stripped of it. So we got a minute to go coming up. Thornton, no good. Rebound, McClyment, call, and a foul. Coming the other way. What is coming up for SFA? To Tarleton Monday, another rematch, or makeup game rather, that was supposed to happen Thursday. RGP moved to Thursday now for that game. That's a 1 o'clock tip against the Vaqueros. Grand Canyon, what a game. I can't wait for that one in a week's time before they head to Utah Tech. So ACU, Tarleton, UTRGV, and Grand Canyon in a week. It's a massive week with these makeups and how this schedule plays out.
It's a brutal week for the Lady Jacks, but if they can win, a couple or 3 of those games, they're going to really sit pretty at the top of the WAC come the end of it.
Yeah, you really have to just survive the week to get to the final couple of weeks of the year.
Absolutely.
This is a tough time of year to have to play 4 times in 8 days.
You can do it in November. When you get to February, it's a little bit tougher.
In the games that matter so much.
Absolutely. Southern Utah been so good, undefeated in WAC play right now. SFA hanging right there with them, though.
Foul on Martin for ACU, 41 seconds to go. How good is this SFA team? I mean, I know this is going to be a tough week for them. It's obviously a tough schedule. They got 2 conference losses. They're looking up at Southern Utah. Everybody is, who's undefeated. What a year they're having. But it just feels like you get this team into the postseason. SFA's never a team I want to see come late February and into March.
Especially in these last couple years, winning the regular season in the Southland and tournament champions, getting to the NCAA tournament, and then last year, regular season champions in the WAC, tournament champions and NCAA first round. They have been consistent for the last few years.
So a 13-point lead for SFA. So this is the WAC resume seeding. This is a different format to decide the seeds of the conference tournament. It does not dictate who goes to WAC Vegas. The top 12 in the regular standings will go. This determines the seeding once you get to the tournament. SFA right now at the top, it's a point-based system, and it takes into account your non-conference and conference schedule, and the point totals change every day based on who you've played and based on who your teams that you've played have played as well. So it takes into a lot to take into it. 4 points for SFA to sit right now. They would be the #1 seed if the WAC tournament started right now for SFA.
And they've done it by beating Arizona State by 15, UNT on the road, Boston College. They had some pretty great non-conference wins to really solidify themselves at the top of that resume seeding.
A quality home loss by 12 to Gonzaga at number 23 in the country at the time. This is a good SFA team, one of the top mid-major programs in the country. And right now, if it ended right now, they would be the #1 seed in Vegas in the WAC tournament. Timeout SFA, they call it going to the ground. Mark Kellogg calling that from the bench with 25 seconds to go. So that's a little bit different of a look than what the actual just win-loss record standings look like. But SFA in position to get to WAC Vegas, be a top seed, and they are going to be a tough out because it kind of took them a few years to get over the hump in the postseason. They kept being really good in the regular season. They won in their final year in the Southland, and then they were really good last year in their first year in the WAC.
And they've done it for the last really decade. 228 overall wins, 142 conference wins, 127 home wins, and big-time wins over big-time programs like Arizona, Arizona State, Auburn, Boise State, Boston College, Houston, and Nevada, and winning the conference in the last couple years. They have been consistent in their success for Coach Kellogg.
25 seconds. Barely any difference between it and the game clock and the shot clock. But SFA going to get back in the win column. Hard to beat this team twice in a row. California Baptist played a phenomenal game. A very quality opponent as well. CBU's been phenomenal in their D1 transition.
And they haven't
so
lost.
They got them in Nacogdoches.
They haven't lost 2 in a row all season long. Every time they've lost, it's been 1 loss, and then they go on a win streak. So it could be another win streak incoming for the Lady Jacks.
And Jordan Harrison on her way to the player of the game today. Spectacular effort. Up to 18 points now for this freshman. She's going to be good for a long time for SFA.
Definitely will. And for ACU, they still got a lot to play for in this last month to kind of improve their seeding. No Coach Goodenough not going to be happy with their team's performance today, as that goes with any coach around this league, losing a home game. But for ACU, they still got a lot to play for in a big weekend coming. Got a chance to bounce back in a couple of games.
What impressed you the most about this SFA team? I mean, I just think they do so much. Just talking, I mean, a 13-point lead. Their defense is so good, but they can score the ball offensively, too. I just love how versatile they seem to be as a team.
Very versatile inside and outside. Getting inside the paint today, it's been really fun to watch. We've been talking about it really all game long. It's been a lot of bully ball for SFA against ACU, a lot of paint presence, and that's what's winning them this game right now, and that's what's going to help them seal it heading back home.
So 18 seconds. Take on a talented Tarleton bunch on Monday. So join us. Monday, we've got Abilene Christian hosting Utah Valley. A 1 o'clock Monday tip. So if you're not doing anything after the lunch hour, come on over. Flip on ESPN Plus for what is going to be a massive game for Abilene Christian to what will be to try to snap a 3-game losing streak after falling by both games last week. Miller had that one blocked, and the time will run out as Stephen F. Austin back in the win column. Win number 18 of the year, 8-2 in the WAC after a 66-53 victory over Abilene Christian.
ACU 53.
They bounced back well, and that thing was close a little bit there in the first half, but then SFA pulls away and gets a big win on the road.
It's a big-time win for SFA and Coach Kellogg to bounce back after that loss last weekend to now go into next week with some momentum heading into this last month of conference play.
How good was Jordan Harrison? She is just such a spectacular freshman, bright future. It's been a lot of fun watching her today.
19 points, 7 for 11 from the floor, 2 for 5 from 3, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, an assist and a couple rebounds. Been fantastic as that facilitator we mentioned earlier, stepping into that role for Zaya Nugent. She was phenomenal today here in Moody.
And so Jordan Harrison will join us as the player of the game today. 19 points. Got in a little foul trouble, but 7 of 11 from the floor, a couple of rebounds, an assist as well. She has taken the reins as the go-to for these Lady Jacks, and she is on her way to take Connor's headset from them and join us as our player of the game. The spectacular freshman for Stephen F. Austin, Jordan Harrison. She will join us as our player of the game here today. Jordan, congratulations on the win, first of all.
Thank you.
How important, the weird scheduling last week, you didn't get to play, but now you come on the road today. How important was this win here today?
I mean, it was very important. I mean, considering our last game against CBU didn't go how we wanted it to. So, you know, coming out here getting this road win at Abilene Christian, it was really good for our team.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, the way that you had to kind of bounce back in this game, and this thing kind of took the whole time. It felt like every time you pull away, ACU get back in it. How'd you guys close this out and pull away and win this game today?
I mean, we just, you know, came together. We dig deep. We believed in each other, started hitting some good shots, and we relied on our defense because ACU did get us a lot on the three-point line, so I think we did good defending that. So that kept them from, you know, taking the lead of the game.
How challenging will this week be for you? You got a bunch of games coming up in a short amount of time, so how big will this week be for your team?
I mean, it's really big. I mean, one game at a time, but we do got GCU coming up, and we're looking forward for that game. But we just got to keep our bodies healthy, you know, keep playing together as a team, and I think, you know, we'll come out with a W. So, yeah.
17 points for you. How'd you feel out there offensively today?
Oh, I felt great. I felt really good. Shot felt good, so I was just out there having fun, and then the rest took care of itself.
Well, congratulations on the win. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Today.
Thanks for having me.
Jordan Harrison as Stephen F. Austin wins it 66-53 over Abilene Christian. This has been a presentation of the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. Until next time, Zach Carlisle, Connor Mullins, Matthew De La Cruz, the whole gang led by Hutton Harris, saying so long, take care. Thanks for watching on ESPN Plus.